Have you ever thought that successful leadership might require more than just strategies and results? Imagine the impact of a leadership style unafraid of transparency and mistakes, a style where courage and vulnerability are at the heart of decision-making. In the business world, where we constantly push for innovation and results, it's easy to overlook the more human aspects of what we do. Often, we believe that showing uncertainty and emotion might seem like weakness. But, as we'll explore in this video, Brené Brown's philosophy challenges that view entirely. For Brown, vulnerability isn't a sign of weakness, but of strength, an essential quality for any leader looking to create a truly innovative and collaborative environment. This is an invitation to question traditional ideas about what it means to lead. If you want to foster creativity, you need a team unafraid to make mistakes, a confidence that grows when a leader is authentic. Brown sees vulnerability as a powerful fuel for innovation, fostering an atmosphere where bold ideas are welcomed, fear of judgment is reduced, and people feel free to share thoughts that can genuinely transform the landscape. This is the business environment increasingly highlighted by companies that value sustainable growth and innovation. Throughout this video, we'll explore how the concepts of vulnerability and courage can be practically applied in corporate settings, along with the tangible benefits of this approach. We'll look at what happens when leaders not only allow but actively encourage their teams to be authentic, fostering a culture open to mistakes and experimentation. We'll share examples of companies and leaders who have embraced these values and achieved remarkable results. Today's journey isn't just about understanding a new concept. It's an invitation for you, as a leader or professional aiming to stand out, to apply these ideas and see how they can transform your workplace. Want to know how the courage to be vulnerable can drive more innovative results and build more engaged teams? Then let's dive in and discover how these leadership practices can bring a fresh perspective to your career and company. In the business world, vulnerability is often linked to risk, insecurity, and even a loss of control. Most leaders steer clear of showing any signs of weakness, opting instead to focus on tangible aspects like results, strategies, and planning. However, according to Brené Brown, this perspective is outdated and limits innovation and creativity within an organization. For Brown, vulnerability is essential in helping teams feel secure enough to explore new ideas, challenge the status quo, and ultimately innovate. But what does it actually mean to be vulnerable at work? In this context, vulnerability doesn't mean chaos or a lack of confidence. It means creating a space where people feel free to share ideas without fearing harsh criticism or backlash. Leaders who embrace vulnerability are willing to admit they don't have all the answers, remain open to feedback, and see mistakes as learning opportunities. This approach builds an environment where employees feel comfortable contributing bold, risky ideas, and that's where innovation starts. A study by Google on team performance, known as Project Aristotle, revealed that the most important factor for a team's success wasn't the experience level or technical skills of its members. Instead, it was psychological safety, a space where people feel they can be authentic and share their ideas without fear of judgment. Contrary to popular belief, vulnerability strengthens this safety, establishing a foundation of trust and openness. Additionally, when leaders practice vulnerability, they model this behavior for their teams. Employees who see their leaders admitting mistakes, asking for help, and seeking fresh perspectives are more likely to adopt this approach themselves. This fosters a dynamic, collaborative culture where everyone is encouraged to take risks and innovate. Bold ideas often come from situations where people feel free to question and explore without fear of failure or judgment for trying something new. Consider a tech company where developers are constantly working to improve a product. When they feel free to propose different ideas and take risks, like testing new code or suggesting radical design changes, the end result is usually far superior. However, this freedom only exists in an environment where leadership actively encourages experimentation, something unlikely in companies that view vulnerability with skepticism. Leading with vulnerability is no easy feat and often challenges the leader's own ego. Admitting mistakes and uncertainties can be uncomfortable, especially in highly competitive companies with challenging targets. Yet, when a leader overcomes this barrier and embraces vulnerability, They pave the way for innovation and establish a stronger, trust-based connection with their team. This is the first step toward transforming the business environment. With vulnerability as a practice, workplaces emerge where experimentation and learning are truly valued. Leaders who choose this path make room for innovation to happen more naturally by eliminating fear and resistance to failure. Ultimately, vulnerability is the foundation of an innovative culture and the sustained success of the teams and companies willing to embrace it. The idea of an untouchable leader, a figure who shows unshakable strength, always in control and seemingly immune to mistakes, is still common in business. This leadership style aims to project authority and security, believing it will instill confidence in the team. But does it actually work? Surprisingly, this approach can have profound negative effects on organizational culture. Leaders who maintain a rigid, impenetrable stance end up creating barriers that inhibit idea exchange, collaboration, and innovation. This myth of the infallible leader directly impacts how employees perceive the work environment. When a leader avoids showing vulnerability, team members often follow suit, holding back concerns, doubts, and innovative ideas out of fear of judgment or reprisal. The result? An environment where people feel the need to stay in line, offering only safe ideas, hardly a recipe for innovation. Furthermore, untouchable leaders tend to rely solely on their own perspectives and avoid seeking feedback, even from their team. This lack of openness to dialogue and learning stunts team growth, as employees feel discouraged from offering suggestions or raising issues. The outcome is a hierarchical and stagnant work culture where employees prefer stability over proposing meaningful changes. Consider companies that have missed major opportunities to innovate or adapt simply due to closed-off leadership. Industry giants have fallen into this trap, largely because a lack of dialogue and vulnerability prevented new ideas from surfacing. In contrast, companies that embrace a more open, participative approach are often quicker to spot trends and adapt because they foster an environment where everyone feels motivated to contribute. When leaders break this myth and show vulnerability by admitting mistakes, seeking team input, or being open to learning, they encourage a culture where collaboration and innovation flow naturally. This strengthens the psychological safety of employees, who feel more comfortable proposing bold ideas or even pointing out potential process flaws. Ultimately, a leader's true strength isn't in projecting a perfect, unchanging image, but in connecting genuinely with the team and fostering a safe environment for everyone to contribute. By moving beyond the myth of the untouchable leader, companies gain a real competitive edge, one built on trust and adaptability. While vulnerability helps build a culture of trust, courage empowers leaders and their teams to challenge norms, pursue new ideas, and transform the workplace into a vibrant space for innovation. In business, courage is more than simply acting without fear. It's about leading authentically, taking calculated risks, and making bold decisions that may seem risky but have the potential to yield substantial rewards. When we talk about innovation, we think of new approaches and experimentation. This kind of innovation is only possible when both the team and its leader have the courage to move away from the conventional path and explore uncharted territories. Companies like Google and Netflix exemplify this mindset, known for embracing experimentation and learning from their mistakes. At Google, for example, leaders actively encourage employees to explore different ideas, understanding that genuine innovation happens when people have the freedom to create and push their own boundaries. Moreover, courage in leadership inspires and motivates employees, especially during challenging times. In an organizational culture that values courage, teams know they are supported when facing difficulties, and they feel their voices matter. This fosters a sense of belonging and strengthens trust among team members. When a leader is brave enough to listen to ideas that might even challenge their own perspective, they establish a collaborative foundation where everyone feels part of the creative process. Another key aspect of courage is the willingness to fail and learn from mistakes. Leaders and companies that accept the possibility of failure pave the way for long-term success. As Brené Brown emphasizes, true progress occurs when courage and vulnerability work together. Vulnerability provides employees with psychological safety, while courage offers the drive to put new ideas into action. However, cultivating courage takes practice. Leaders who inspire innovation start by taking responsibility for their own mistakes and acknowledging the lessons learned from each experience, whether positive or negative. This approach not only brings them closer to their teams, but also encourages employees to do the same. When everyone sees that failure is part of the process and that leaders, too, are human and fallible, it creates a mutual support network where innovation naturally thrives. Courage at work, therefore, is more than a personality trait. It's an intentional and cultivated skill. Companies that prioritize courage in their organizational culture build a competitive edge, becoming known for their agility, adaptability, and, above all, potential for innovation. Courage at every level of the hierarchy keeps companies one step ahead, ready to face challenges and find solutions before their competitors. In short, courage is the essential tool that transforms vulnerability into real innovation. In companies where courage is fostered, the work environment not only promotes experimentation but also rewards those who dare to challenge the status quo. Thus, courage emerges as a fundamental pillar for the development of leaders and teams that seek not only to adapt to change, but to drive it. So far, we've explored the importance of vulnerability and courage and how these concepts can transform the workplace. But in practice, how can a leader implement these ideas daily? Here are specific tools to cultivate an open organizational culture where innovation and collaboration can thrive naturally. 1. Compassionate feedback sessions. Feedback is one of the most powerful tools for both individual and team growth, yet it's often treated impersonally. A compassionate feedback approach, which combines vulnerability and courage, focuses on building trust and connection within the team. Leaders are encouraged to share observations empathetically, aiming for the employee's development rather than simply correcting mistakes. Instead of rigidly pointing out faults, leaders provide insights that help the individual grow, recognizing strengths and showing genuine interest in their progress. 2. Emotional check-ins. Emotional check-ins are a simple yet highly effective way to strengthen team connections. Before starting a meeting or an important project, leaders can open the floor for everyone to share how they're feeling. This practice creates a supportive environment where people feel safer discussing personal challenges and difficulties. Not only does this improve the team's overall well-being, but it also brings them closer together, building a culture where each person's emotional state is valued. 3. Unfiltered brainstorming sessions. Fear of having ideas rejected or judged can be a major barrier to innovation. Leaders can counter this by encouraging unfiltered brainstorming sessions. In these sessions, everyone is invited to share any ideas that come to mind without a filter, regardless of their feasibility. The goal is to create a space where every contribution is valid, allowing creativity to flow freely. While some ideas may prove more practical than others, this exercise helps each team member feel that their opinion matters, reinforcing trust and openness. 4. Error reflection sessions. Mistakes are inevitable in any innovation process, and learning from them is crucial. One effective practice is to hold error reflection sessions, where the team reviews and analyzes projects that didn't meet expectations. The goal isn't to assign blame, but to understand what can be improved and identify new approaches. This helps everyone see mistakes as a natural part of learning, without fear of retribution. The practice encourages the team to try new things and share their errors, strengthening trust and a spirit of innovation. 5. Routine sharing of small wins. Celebrating small successes is another way to reinforce an innovative culture. When leaders take time to recognize daily achievements, they show that everyone's efforts are valued, even small progress. This ongoing recognition keeps morale high and motivates employees to keep taking risks and contributing new ideas. Additionally, sharing small wins creates a cycle of motivation that leads to greater achievements over time. 6. Encouraging 360-degree feedback. 360-degree feedback allows all team members, regardless of their position, to give and receive feedback. This practice builds a culture of transparency and equality, where everyone feels that their voice matters. It fosters a sense of belonging and encourages open communication, helping to break down barriers between teams and departments. In a company where feedback is continuous and horizontal, Innovation tends to happen more naturally, as team members feel free to contribute their unique perspectives. 7. Creating innovation and testing spaces. Innovation spaces, like internal labs, are becoming increasingly popular in companies looking to encourage bold ideas. These spaces can be physical or digital, but the purpose is the same: to provide a safe environment for teams to experiment with new ideas without the fear of failure. In these areas, ideas can be tested and refined before being implemented in the final product. This practice enhances creative freedom and helps develop innovative solutions that might otherwise never be explored. These practical tools are more than just management techniques. They're ways to foster leadership that embraces vulnerability and courage as the foundation of an innovative culture. They help build a deeper connection between the team and the leader, creating an environment where everyone feels comfortable exploring, failing, and growing together. By implementing these practices daily, leaders can transform the way their teams collaborate and innovate. With a culture rooted in vulnerability and courage, each team member feels part of a larger purpose while gaining the confidence to take risks and contribute new ideas. To see the tangible impact of vulnerability in the business world, we can look at companies and leaders who have embraced these concepts, achieving remarkable results. These examples show that vulnerability and courage aren't just abstract ideas, but powerful strategies for transforming corporate environments and driving success. 1. Netflix, a culture of transparency and trust. Netflix stands out as a prime example of transparency and openness at work. Early on, the company established a culture of autonomy, where employees are free to make decisions and express ideas openly. Reed Hastings, Netflix's CEO, believes the company's success stems from trusting employees to make choices aligned with its values. By granting this freedom, Hastings demonstrates vulnerability, relinquishing total control and allowing his team to innovate without rigid barriers. This approach has not only strengthened the company culture but also generated agile, creative solutions in the fast-paced streaming industry. 2. Microsoft. Satya Nadella's transformative leadership. When Satya Nadella became Microsoft CEO in 2014, he inherited a company marked by rigid culture and internal divisions. Rather than following a traditional leadership model, Nadella chose to lead with vulnerability. He championed a continuous learning and growth mindsets culture, where mistakes are seen as learning opportunities. Nadella encouraged employees to question, collaborate, and experiment, regardless of rank or experience. This transformation created an environment where everyone feels comfortable contributing, turning Microsoft into a far more innovative and adaptable company. 3. Google. Project Aristotle and psychological safety. Google is another example of a company that values vulnerability. Through Project Aristotle, Google discovered that the most crucial factor for team success was psychological safety, the feeling that each member could be themselves, share ideas, and take risks without fear of punishment or judgment. To foster this sense of safety, Google promotes a culture of feedback and unfiltered brainstorming, where every idea is valued and mistakes are seen as part of the learning process. This approach has enabled Google to innovate continuously, developing products that have redefined the market. 4. Patagonia. Purpose-driven culture and transparency. Patagonia, the outdoor clothing brand, was founded with a clear commitment to sustainability and environmental impact. Its CEO, Yvon Chouinard, is known for leading with authenticity and purpose, encouraging employees to embrace environmental causes and prioritize purpose over profit. This culture of transparency and vulnerability has attracted passionate, value-driven talent, creating an environment where everyone feels part of a larger mission. Chouinard's courageous, purpose-centered leadership has earned Patagonia a prominent market position and fostered a deep bond with its customers. These examples show that vulnerability and courage, when applied genuinely, not only strengthen organizational culture, but also create a competitive advantage. Companies that embrace these principles are more agile, innovative, and better prepared to face the challenges of a constantly changing market. Authenticity is one of the most valued traits in modern leaders. To lead authentically means to lead transparently, act in alignment with one's values, and show humanity, not just strengths but vulnerabilities as well. In a world where work relationships are increasingly dynamic and interdependent, authenticity fosters trust and inspiration, helping teams feel safe and engaged. Authentic leadership avoids the stress of trying to fit rigid molds or hide emotions and uncertainties. Instead, authentic leaders recognize their own challenges and are open to listening and learning from their teams. This approach not only brings leaders closer to their employees, but also creates a culture where everyone feels comfortable sharing their ideas and doubts. According to Brené Brown, authenticity is one of the most effective ways to build a trust-centered workplace. When a leader expresses real emotions and communicates sincerely, they show they value and respect their people, generating reciprocity. In an environment where authenticity is the norm, the result is a more unified and resilient team with employees who find meaning in their work and are willing to give their best. Authenticity also promotes clear and unfiltered communication. In teams where leaders are transparent about their intentions, misunderstandings and misinterpretations are less likely. The transparency and clarity fostered by authenticity help align expectations, ensuring each team member understands their role and the importance of their contributions. This environment of mutual understanding is ideal for innovation, as it removes communication barriers and creates space for real and effective collaboration. A study by the Harvard Business Review found that employees who consider their leaders authentic report higher levels of satisfaction and productivity. These employees tend to have intrinsic motivation. They're driven by personal achievement and a sense of belonging rather than solely by goals or external rewards. This boosts commitment and loyalty to the company, reduces turnover, and promotes a more sustainable work environment in the long term. Ultimately, authenticity in leadership isn't just a desirable trait, but an essential component for success in a competitive corporate landscape. It allows leaders to connect deeply with their teams, building a culture of trust and respect that encourages innovation and collaboration. In a market where companies increasingly seek unique advantages, authenticity is a powerful asset, enabling leaders to not only manage but also inspire and transform their teams. So far, we've explored how vulnerability, courage, and authenticity are pillars for innovative and effective leadership. But how can these concepts be applied in everyday work? To ensure these ideas truly make a difference, it's essential to implement step-by-step actions that help build a more open and collaborative organizational culture. Step 1. Start small and be consistent. Cultural transformation doesn't happen overnight. Begin by introducing small, daily changes, such as quick check-ins at the start of meetings to gauge employees' emotional states. This habit creates a space for listening and empathy, helping establish a culture of mutual support. It's important for leaders to be consistent, demonstrating that this practice is valued as part of strengthening the team. Step 2. Embrace transparency in challenges and mistakes. Showing vulnerability when faced with mistakes or complex challenges can be uncomfortable, but it's essential for building trust. When issues arise, share the difficulties with your team openly and work together to find solutions. This not only fosters a collaborative environment, but also reinforces that everyone is united in finding answers. A leader who acknowledges challenges promotes empathy and encourages team members to do the same. Step 3. Encourage mutual, continuous feedback. Establishing a routine of continuous feedback is key to maintaining openness in the workplace. One effective method is 360-degree feedback, where everyone can give and receive feedback, regardless of their position. This process builds clear, horizontal communication and shows that feedback is a two-way street, with leaders also open to listening and learning from others. Step 4. Create safe spaces for innovation. Set up an ideas labs or brainstorming routine where everyone feels free to propose ideas without fear of judgment. This can be done in dedicated meetings focused on exploring new approaches without censorship or criticism. These moments are fundamental for encouraging creativity and paving the way for innovative solutions, allowing team members to contribute their unique perspectives. Step 5. Celebrate small wins and learning from mistakes. Reinforcing small achievements is a simple yet powerful practice. Recognize minor successes and acknowledge attempts that, even if they didn't yield the expected results, provided valuable learning. This recognition creates a positive motivation cycle, encouraging the team to keep exploring and innovating. When mistakes are accepted as part of growth, the team feels more confident to take risks and experiment. When these steps are integrated into daily routines, they help solidify a leadership style rooted in vulnerability and courage. Over time, the team evolves into a cohesive, confident, and highly creative group where each member feels safe to contribute genuinely. We've reached the end of this journey exploring how vulnerability, courage, and authenticity can revolutionize the business environment. Throughout the video, we've seen that leading with vulnerability isn't just about personal growth. It's a powerful strategy for building innovative, engaged teams ready to explore new ideas. Modern leadership goes beyond control. It's about inspiring, connecting, and valuing each team member's unique contribution. Now, here's an invitation for you. How can these practices transform your work, your team, or even your life? Think about the small actions that could start making a difference today: a transparent conversation, a feedback moment, or a genuine acknowledgement of a colleague. It's through consistent actions like these that a culture of innovation and mutual support is built. If you enjoyed this content and think it could help others, share this video. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more insights on leadership, innovation, and personal growth. Transforming the work environment starts with a single attitude, and that attitude can start with you.